early on before all of Iqbal's various statements, but I wanted to address it here at the end. I don't know why these two guys are against the Prophet Muhammad. Well, I actually responded in the chat and said, you're just lying. You know very well why we're against him because you've watched many of these streams. But here's our opportunity. Thanks, Iqbal, to talk about some of the reasons why we are against the Prophet Muhammad. I'll let you go first.
Well, I'm gonna start with a little bit of the pragmatic and worldly reasons why someone should be against the prophet, quote unquote. I hate even saying the word prophet, so fake prophet. Um, One of the reasons is because his morals and standards of living are stuck in the 7th century of Arabia. It came out of a culture of um, not being pleasant to women, not being pleasant to your neighbor, violence, and all of those horrible things. But this is what I'm just going to go off on a little tangent here, and then I'll pull over, let you finish out here, Thaddeus. But one thing that I find incredibly interesting is Muslims a lot of times will say, look, Muhammad was a champion of women's rights. Muhammad they used to bury their children. They would bury their girls. They'd bury them. And yet, in their own sources, Muhammad marries a rich widow, works for her. She's a business owner, living on her own, running a business. Women aren't allowed to do that anymore in Islam. That's not something that women are allowed to do. Not to mention that it is sanctioned as halal for men to beat their wives. No matter how hard they beat their wives, they are sanctioned, Quran 4:34, to beat their wives. It is halal for them to have and own slaves, and not only own slaves, they can have sex with their slaves. But not only can they have sex with their slaves whom they own, they can have sex with their slaves whom they own that are married to their husbands still. So there is legal, what we would consider to be adultery within the religion. Also, the book says that you can divorce a child before her first period. You must wait 3 months, however, before she can remarry again after you, because there's a chance that she might be pregnant. This is all before her first period. This is all before she has reached puberty. Those moral compass laws are horrible. Pragmatically, if the world was run by a religion and people who followed that religion, who actually practice what they should, and thank God that the vast majority of Muslims are far superior morally to their prophet. But that's why we preach against Muhammad, because he is one of the worst, if not the worst, moral examples for anyone, anywhere, of any time. And I will pass the mic over to you.
Yeah, this is a hard question in that there's so many different places we could go. Mr. Truth has covered the moral angle. I'll just add one thing, and that's Aisha's words, that I have never seen a woman suffering as much as that of the believing woman. So Aisha herself says that Muslim women are treated worse than other women, yet this is elevating their status, apparently, according to our Muslim friends. Like I said, I could go many different places, but I will go with the fact, why am I against Muhammad? I am against Muhammad because his words, or the words attributed to him, the words that he supposedly brought as revelation in addition. So I was referring to the Hadith first, then to the Quran. These words are perhaps the most perfect antichrist religion. Now, what do I mean by that? Do I mean that Islam is pure evil in the stereotypical sense that Muslims are sacrificing kittens and making blood offerings to Satan? No, that's not what I mean at all. That kind of religion, not very attractive. That won't bring very many people. That is not it is antichrist, but it's not a very good antichrist religion. Islam affirms a lot of the same moral teachings as Christianity. it affirms a lot of the historical facts that Christianity affirms. Now, granted, often the Muslim version of the story is corrupted and distorted, but they believe in the same basic stories. They have variations on them, but they believe in the same basic thing. They uniquely, among all people who are not Christians, believe that Mary was a virgin when she conceived Jesus. They uniquely, among all people, believe that Jesus was the Word of God, that he was a spirit from God. But so there's a lot of attraction there. There's a lot that looks good in Islam. But here's the thing. Islam says there's just a couple things that you absolutely cannot believe. You cannot believe that Jesus died on the cross. You cannot believe that Jesus rose from the dead. And you cannot believe that Jesus was divine or that the Trinity is the nature of God. These are the core Christian beliefs. So it has enough truth to be attractive while perverting the exact nature of the gospel. And I'll add additionally, it also perverts the salvation message, the other half of the gospel, saying that you are saved by your works or by the arbitrary decision of Allah, but definitely not by faith. So that's why I am against Muhammad, because he has led billions of souls to hell. And I'd say that's a pretty good reason.
Yep. I think that's even better reason, perhaps.
So, Iqbal, you now know why we are against Muhammad.
Yeah, and actually, Iqbal, let me just add this here really quickly. Also, we're against Muhammad because he's leading to you, personally you, into hellfire. And we disagree with you and we may get heated. However, we're doing this and putting ourselves out here and somewhat putting our lives and our families' lives and health and our jobs and all these things at risk, because it's not too uncommon that people find out who you are, where you live, who you work for, and get you fired from your job, or they threaten you, give you death threats and all those types of things. But what would motivate someone to go into that kind of field that we're in and have the potential of being persecuted even to the end of our life? And the reason why we're doing that is not out of hatred. In fact, we love you and we love our Muslims. We are all made in God's image, and we do detest the lies that you have been told. And we want to break down those barriers, whatever it is between you and the truth and hearing the truth. We want to break that down. And we want you to at least pay ear, listen to what it is that we are saying, consider what it is that we are saying. Because at the end of the day, if you truly believe in God, then you're going to believe in heaven and you're going to believe in hell. And what you believe about Jesus, this is true for all religions, what you believe about Jesus matters. Who do you say that I am? Is exactly what Jesus asked his disciples. So I want you to be asking that as well, and challenging what you hear from others and challenging what you believe yourself so that you can find what is actually true.